Thalassophobia is defined as the persistent and intense fear of deep bodies of water. It is one of the most common fears found throughout mankind. Looking deep into human history, we can find hundreds of tales about the fear of the deep, spanning from ancient Greece to biblical stories. The ocean has remained a pertinent idea in human fears for centuries. Thalassophobia's impact can be seen in poems from the 18th century, like The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and even evolving into popular culture films today. Jaws, 47 Meters Down, The Meg, and even The Titanic are all examples of films that explore human discomfort with the deep sea. It is almost as if humans have some sort of obsession with their fear of the ocean. In The Depths of Our Experience, a chapter from Beasts of the Deep, Sean Harrington describes an oceanic horror. He defines this as the terror that comes from the discord between the reflective surface and the depths beneath that draws our gaze into dark places. Something about how unknown and unexplored the ocean is connects us as humans to the seas, and the ocean is shockingly unknown. It is estimated that about 25% of the ocean's seafloor has been mapped and that there are 700,000 to 1 million species in the ocean, many of which are unknown. This lack of knowledge of our oceans is possibly a heavy contributor to thalassophobia. Because the waters are so difficult to see through and traverse, what there is to be discovered in the depths is incredibly unpredictable. This unpredictability causes unease. So humans tried to predict what the ocean may hold by creating sea monsters. When you think of large bodies of water, it may be hard to avoid thinking about monsters such as the Kraken, the Leviathan, or even whirlpools. All of these are explanations that humans came up with long ago to combat the unpredictability of the ocean. Explanations of whirlpools extend to Homer's Odyssey, where the creature Charybdis is referenced. This creature acts just as a whirlpool and is a perfect example of a human explanation for something they did not understand. The Leviathan is another great example of human explanation. Images of a Leviathan depict the monster as having qualities of sperm whales, sharks, and reptiles. So why do humans depict these monstrous creatures? Why are we so afraid of the ocean? Well, many have tried to find an explanation. Theories for thalassophobia's origin include evolution to religion to media culture. Thalassophobia as a fear falls into the specific phobia category. Specific phobias are defined as intense and unreasonable or irrational fears of specific objects or situations. These types of fears are explained by evolution or some other form of fear acquisition. Looking into evolution, we find varying results. For example, researchers set up an experiment to test the effect that the fear of the ocean had on human performance. The study showed that when frightened, humans have a point of optimal decision-making. This biological factor points to the fact that the fear of the ocean may be evolutionary. However, most of the evidence of this experiment points to the evolutionary factors of fear itself. Results of studies researching the fear of the ocean as an evolution have proven inconclusive. While many researchers believe fears like thalassophobia are evolutionary, some look at religion's impact. Throughout religious texts, like the Bible, the ocean is a negative motif representing chaos in opposition to God. In Genesis 1, the ocean is chaotic and formless before God creates the world. The Great Flood in the story of Noah's Ark shows how the ocean is used as a tool for judgment. The Bible also refers to the ocean as a home for demons such as the Leviathan in Isaiah 27:1 and Jobs 41:1-44, where the monster is described in detail. The descriptions include the menacing monster's strength, opposition to God, and even its ability to breathe fire. While these religious references were sure to cause fear of the ocean back then, it is unlikely that humans today fear the ocean because of these texts. This does, however, explain a possible cause of fear acquisition that comes from ancestry. If a family member fears something, you are much more likely to inherit that fear. However, a more relevant example of how media can cause fear in humans could come from modern pop culture. Modern films are probably the reason so many people know of thalassophobia today. The film Jaws is probably the biggest and best example of a film that explores this fear. The film is filled with metaphors connected to the sea. It uses every possible aspect of filmmaking to make the viewer uncomfortable, like the music, the shots creating suspense, and the overwhelming sense of unpredictability. There is so much that is unknown when it comes to thalassophobia, which seems to be exactly why so many people are afraid of the ocean. When there's a gap, people have to fill it in. I have come to the conclusion that the most likely cause for the fear of the ocean is the human mind's obsession with the worst-case scenario. The human imagination is strong, hence the creation of sea monsters, a prime example of humans creating the most frightening of situations. The unknown holds a powerful grip on our thoughts, and the ocean, with its vast, uncharted depths, becomes a blank canvas for our darkest fears. When we cannot see something, we fill in the gaps with terrifying possibilities. Something touched your leg? It must be a shark, or something equally or more terrifying. The ocean's mystery, combined with the human tendency to react to danger, leads many to envision horror beneath the surface. These imaginations are influenced greatly by stories of the past, sea creatures, or even modern media. But even without their influence, many are still frightened of the ocean. The root of this fear stems from the natural human instinct to fear the unknown and uncontrollable. We try to explain these unknowns through stories or our imagination, but our instinct tells us to worry about the worst possible outcome. The ocean, with its size and unpredictability, represents a place where humans are vulnerable and powerless. In the end, our fear of the ocean is not just about the water itself, but it is a reflection of how our minds work, how we project our deepest anxieties onto the unknown. The sea, like many of the things we fear, is much more a product of our imagination than of reality. Our ability to think up worst-case scenarios, to create monsters, shows just how much power our thoughts have over us. In confronting this fear, we are not just facing the ocean. We are facing the stories we have told ourselves. And perhaps, the scariest thing of all is realizing how much those stories shape the way we live every day, influencing our choices, our limits, and what we hold ourselves back from.